Hi, I'm Jerry Maynard, the CEO of the Maynard Group, and we're here with Nashville Voice, where I serve as a publisher. It's always a great opportunity to meet the leaders here in Nashville, Tennessee, who are really making a difference in our community. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce a friend of mine that I met several years ago. His name is Hicks, and he is the CEO of the National Museum for African American Music. And they let me be on the board, so I'm just glad I can serve on the board. Henry, welcome to Nashville Voice. So glad to have you. Tell us about the museum and tell us about the grand opening that's happening this year.
Yeah, well, it's exciting. So about a year from now, so maybe not quite in this year, but just about a year from now, we'll have a grand opening for the museum.
Wow.
We're really excited. As many people know, this has been a long time in coming, a dream deferred, if you will, in this community, and so we're finally just about there. Construction is underway down at 5th and Broadway. It's amazing to see all of the steel and the concrete. As you walk through, you can see the theater take shape. You can see where all the galleries are going to be. I was down there earlier today. You could even see where the signage is going to go on the outside. It's already been framed up, and it's going to be incredible. So
let's talk about the museum. But first was going to be on Jefferson Street. Then downtown as part of the redevelopment of the old convention center.
That's right.
But most important, this is like literally the soul of this new development.
That's right.
Tell us what's going to happen when I walk through the door.
Right. So it is the anchor tenant of that development, and I really like this location. I think even better than Jefferson Street because we have the opportunity to be in the soul not only of the development but also the soul of the city. So 5th and Broadway could not ask for better real estate in the city or in the state. So we're excited about that. So as you walk in, then your eyes and your ears are going to be assaulted with fun. And so it's a music museum. It's a place where we just expect where folks are going to have a good time. So there'll be a theater that will seat about 200 people. We'll have 5 permanent galleries that take up about 20,000 square feet. And then we'll have another 2,500 square feet in a changing exhibition gallery. And we're really excited in that gallery. We're going to open the museum with an exhibit on the Fish Jubilee Singers. Never been done before. And once it leaves Nashville, it'll be here for about a year or so. And then it'll leave and it'll tour the country. And so tell the world about Nashville and about Fisk University and all the great music that started right here in Music City.
There's no museum like this because you've got some Hall of Fame, you've got a museum that's specifically for a record label, you may have another museum that's specific for a location. This is called the genre of all music. I mean, from slavery days to gospel music. Tell us about in the root of rock and roll and all that stuff I can't listen to because I'm a preacher, you know.
So we say from slave songs to hip hop and everything in between. So the way the galleries are laid out, I mean, we really like to think of this as much a history museum as it is a music museum. So as you pointed out, there are other museums in the country that deal with a label, an artist, or a genre. We really are telling the story of American music through American history. And so as it happens, the way that American music lays out, it really starts with religious forms of music. And so, you know, when Africans who were brought to America had their instruments taken away, one of the first things that they began to grapple with is a transposing of European religious narratives into a sensibility that was their own, and that's where the spirituals came from. And then, of course, out of that came gospel music. And so that the first gallery that we have there will be called Wade in the Water. And then you'll move into the Crossroads, and I really like to describe this in terms of place and time rather than genre, but hopefully Crossroads gives you a sense of the Deep South, the Delta, and maybe the 1920s or 30s, and probably a period of time when the blues emerged. And then you go on to A Love Supreme, and the way I like to think about it is that takes you to the Harlem Renaissance. And so now you're dealing more with the 40s through the 60s or so, in a time when fashion and art and culture was in vogue for Black America. And of course, the music of the day at that time was jazz. And then coming out of that, the next gallery then is One Nation Under a Groove. And so One Nation
Under a Groove. Talking about Bootsy Collins and all that?
Talking about Bootsy Collins and all of that, right? All the funk. So, you know, so.
Now, did you have those shoes with the high heels, Henry? Or were you too young?
You know, I might have been just a little bit. I didn't have all of that though.
But you had a fro.
I did have a fro.
Yeah, I had a fro now, you know, because the Jacksons was my thing, Jackson 5. And so I wanted that Michael Jackson fro.
You got to just make it do what it do. So absolutely. So so One Nation Under a Groove. So maybe that takes you all over the country a little bit. L.A., Detroit, New York, and you're kind of dealing with funk, disco, R&B, all of that music that's kind of coming together, coming out of that experience. And then you move into the message. And the message begins to deal with urban renewal, maybe a little bit more of the 70s, maybe leaking on into the 80s, when, of course, the music of hip-hop emerged. And so we think we can walk through American history and then introduce people not only to various genres of music, but more importantly, the connectivity of genre. So where would you find Kirk Franklin in our museum? Well, I expect that you would find it in Wade in the Water, which is where most of our religious music will be, but you probably will also find Kirk Franklin in the message, because he certainly is heavily influenced by hip-hop and R&B. Where would you find Ray Charles? Well, you would probably find Ray Charles maybe in Crossroads, but probably in One Nation Under a Groove as well. Because he was so influential, and probably in the message as well, because he's one of the most sampled artists of all time in the genre of hip-hop. And so you're going to find Ray Charles everywhere, and that's the idea, is that we can illustrate, because we set the museum up this way, we can illustrate the connectivity of music. And so the way I like to think about that is that will give folks from multiple generations the opportunity to have a shared experience. And so whether it's you and your children and your parents going through the museum at the same time, you may have different interests, different time periods when music was important to you or most important to you, but you can have a shared experience.
Let me talk about connectivity. I love a mechanism that you all have where I can type in Lady Gaga. And then Lady Gaga, it can show all the influences of where she got her music from, going all the way back in time, so that she didn't just show up one day on the scene, but rather the influences of her music can be traced all the way back to maybe the 20s, the 30s, or whatever, and then all the musicians and artists who may have influenced her.
And so that's our app. And so right now you can find it on our website, riversofrhythm.com.
Riversofrhythm.com.
Riversofrhythm.com. That's where you can find that app today. But in the next few weeks or so, you'll be able to find it on the Apple Store and on the Google Play Store as well. But that app is designed to do exactly what you said. You nailed it on a good board member. So you nailed it on the head. We want people to understand that Lady Gaga had influences, and they're across race and they're across genre. And so those influences influence her. And then just as importantly, Lady Gaga has influenced some other people across race and across genre. And so we've used technology to be able to do that. And we'll be able to do that in an even more robust way in the museum itself. So we will have an interactive exhibition throughout the museum. And each of the 5 galleries will have an interactive exhibition of that will enable people to play with it and kind of find these connection points.
We're talking to Henry Hicks. He is the CEO of the National Museum for African American Music. Now, this is not going to be one of those museums where you go in and you just see someone's old retired wig or cape. This is going to be high technology, connectivity, interactive. Explain just in a few minutes what that looks like when you go into this modern day high-tech museum.
So we like to say it's not your granddaddy's museum. So we understand, we've come to understand that people really do go to museums to see the real deal. They come to see the stuff. So they want to see the wig, and they want to see the cap, and they want to see the gold record. And so we'll have plenty of that. But we'll also have more than 25 interactive exhibitions throughout the museum galleries as well, so that you can touch it, you can feel it, you can play with it, you can hear it, you can create for yourself. And one of those that we're going to have is something that we call Singing with a Gospel Choir. And so Nashville's own Dr. Bobby Jones has agreed to help us curate, and he will be the voice and the face of that particular installation. And you'll be able to walk into a booth, there'll be a choir on the wall. Dr. Jones will show you what the lyrics are and how to sing this song. You'll kind of stand in front of a screen and sing along with Dr. Jones. And then once you're done, after 3 or 4 minutes, it'll tell you to hold up for just a minute, and it'll download it to a bracelet that's on your wrist. You can watch it play back, and it'll be as though you are in the choir on Sunday morning.
So you may get the Holy Ghost.
You may get the Holy Ghost. You may. So we're gonna have some tissue outside the door. Some fans nearby. To help folks out.
That's right. The last thing we want to talk about is no museum can survive without the gifts, contributions, the financial support.
Yes.
And I don't want us just to focus on those corporations, but how does an ordinary, everyday citizen who loves music,
Yeah.
who loves our history and our culture, whether they're black or white or brown, and they say, I want to be part of the museum by giving to it.
Yeah.
How do we do that?
Well, there are a few ways that come to mind. So the first thing is we are all over social media, and so we need folks to go on to their social channels and follow us.
Okay.
And on all social channels, we are at the NMAAM, or the NMAAM, the NMAAM. And you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever else you're on, YouTube. You can find us there. So we need that. You can also go to our website, which is thenamaam.org or namaam.org, nmaam.org. And first thing when you go to the site, a thing will pop up that says sign up for our newsletter. And put your email address in there.
Awesome.
And that way we can keep up. We can keep you informed electronically as to what's going on. We send out newsletters about every other month to let folks know what's going on. That's a great place to start. And then, of course, in the upper right-hand corner on that website is a big red donate button. And so folks can go and donate. And we really do need folks to go and do that. No gift is too small, and no gift is certainly too large.
Right.
But we really are motivated and inspired by even the small gifts that people give. You know, if somebody sends along a $2 check or a $20 check or a $2,000 check, it says to us, you're interested,
That's
you're
right.
committed,
That's exactly
you're, and that means so much to our team and our staff here at the museum that are working on it. And so that's a way to do that. And then with that information, come May or June or so, we will launch our membership program.
That's this year.
And then that'll be this year.
Okay.
So we are getting started early, and there will be pre-opening benefits to signing up and becoming a founding member of the museum. Again, come May or June, and then if we have your email address, it'll be easy for us to contact you, and probably for $50. Maybe in the first year, you know, you'll get that first founding member status with the museum. And so we really want people to do that. We're excited about the membership program, and we're excited about getting this museum open in the next year.
So the museum will be open within the next year. I'm so grateful to have with us the CEO of the Nashville Museum for African American Music. This is so important because we talk about Nashville being Music City, USA. How can you have Music City if you do not have a museum that celebrates the contributions of African Americans to all music? In fact, we believe that our culture is our greatest export.
That's exactly
of a commodity. And so the museum will be opening up next year sometime, but you can give today. You can join with them. They have all kind of activities. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Jerry Maynard, publisher of the Nashville Voice. So glad you joined us.